Okay, I wanted to do a bike check on my 2017 Pivot Firebird. So I did demo like the lower end large build of this, and I have a couple videos on that. This is the build that I kind of custom built up myself, starting with the XL frame. So I can kind of just walk through like each component. This thing weighs, once I switch out the cassette, I'll talk about that. It probably weighs like 28.5 pounds, a little over that. So for an XL frame, 170 mil, 180 mil in the front, travel bike, it's pretty light, with super long reach and kind of more enduro-y wheels I'll talk about. Let's start at the cockpit. So I have these Ergon, I think they're like the enduro grips. Two different colors because, you know, it looks cool. You guys see that. These remotes are for lupine lights. So I run a Wilma on the bars and a Pico on the head. They're really awesome lights, and these remotes make it so you can like save power and go to the right brightness without ever taking your hands off the bars. So that's pretty cool. The shifters, this is Di2 shifter in a 1x setup. This is the display that'll show you what gear you're in. I still have the plastic on it. I'm sure I'll take that off at some point. The brakes are Guide Ultimate brakes, which are no complaints on those. I like them a lot. Running them on the Bronson as well, at least on the rear. The stem is a MV mountain stem, which saves a lot of weight over pretty much every other stem you can get. It's 40mm stem. Headsets, the Cane Creek 40. I know there are more expensive exotic headsets, but I have this on the Bronson. I have zero complaints on my headset, so I figured I'd continue that on this guy. I'm running it pretty high. The bars are MV high-rise bars. I really just got these bars because they're the only carbon bars you can get that have a 45-degree rise. They're also like 810 millimeters wide, which is probably one of the widest bars you can get. I've gotten used to it, but my hands kind of sometimes go in a little bit more than sitting sort of maybe where they should. So I don't know if I need an 810. The demo bike had an 800 millimeter width bar. I liked it, so I'll probably cut off eventually the 10 millimeters on each side. This thing is just for where I can put my phone when it's just convenient if you're exploring a new area. You can pop your phone up there and run trail forks, or sometimes if I need my hands free. What else? This is the remote for the Fall Line 9.8 200mm dropper, and so far that thing is awesome, super fast even in cold weather. I don't have to adjust my seat anymore. So far I really like it. What else? So let's kind of go down. This is the Lyric 180 fork. And I'm still kind of dialing in my setup on it. I had 3 tokens in there, but I wasn't really using the full travel. It was going up to maybe here when I was pushing it. So took a token out, running like 80 psi. I'm 220 with all my gear. So we'll see if that'll help sort of use more of that travel on some of the harder stuff. Marsh guard fender. Don't ride without one of those if you're riding in the mud. Let's come down here. So these are the light bicycle carbon wheels, and they're pretty much the same weight and dimensions as an Envy wheel, but they're not $1 billion. So I've been riding on my other bikes for a while, pretty happy with them, so I'm sticking with them. Really great customer service too. The tires, that's what the tire is. It's the widest tire I think I've ever run in the front. The Bronson, I ran a Minion DHF front and rear just because that's how they set it up. I didn't really know any better and it seemed to work. I'm going to try the I said DHR front and rear on the Bronson. This is the actual front tire. So I'm going to try this. I just put these wheels on. I've been running the wheels from the Bronson on this, so we'll see how this works on my ride after this. Rotors are, let's see, these guys. I've been running the SRAM rotors, but I decided to try these. So 180 rotors front and rear. What else? There's the X2 shock. I feel like I have it pretty dialed. I'm keeping a suspension journal where I note down all my settings, like all of them, and then tweak them as I ride so I can kind of get myself a little bit dialed into what everything does and how it feels and translates on the trail. I think I have this thing pretty close. I'm using almost all the travel on rides where I'm pushing it. I have 3 volume spacers in here, which is the max you can put on this stroke length. It's 2.5 inch stroke length, and running like 215 psi. So I'm liking that so far. We'll see. I'll keep riding it a little bit and may tweak it. One thing to note, you don't see any cables. Like the routing on this thing is really great. So pretty much all the cables can just run through the frame. They have like a port down here for the Di2 battery that allows you to really get in the frame and see everything and move stuff around. So I'd never really done any cable routing. This made it pretty easy. Again, that's the travel in the rear. I got the Lyric 180 up front. So seat real quick. So this is the 9.8 fall line 200 millimeter dropper post. So I'm 6'5". This thing's pretty much perfect right here with, you know, like a centimeter or 2 away from the collar. It goes all the way down and all the way to my climbing height. Love it. The seat is a scoop, fabric scoop. I think it's the flat model. Carbon rails, super light, it's like 160 grams, but also comfortable. Moving down, cranks, race face 6C. So pivot specs, like they're full builds with the Next SL. I run now the Next SL and the Bronson. I've had to warranty 2 Next SL cranks the past year. So like they seem to separate behind here. Wanted to go burlier. It's definitely more weight, which I don't like, but I'm going to be using this like at the park and, you know, gnarlier stuff. So figured maybe I can avoid some of the problems I had with the Next SL with this guy. We'll see. These pedals are awesome. They're the super light Canfield Brothers magnesium crampon pedals and really thin. So fewer pedal strikes. They're light. I've never had any problem with durability. I'm a bigger guy and I've, you know, put them through the ringer quite a bit, so they've held up. And the chain ring is a 1-up oval 32T. I'm running this little Absolute Black chain guide, but it's been rubbing. I don't really have a problem with dropping chains, so working with the local bike shop to see if we can get rid of that rub. If we can, I may just ditch it. It's light. I mean, it'd be nice for like a race if I couldn't afford to lose a chain, but we'll see. What else? The bottom bracket is a Hope. It's a Press Fit 92. I think it's the only other option you can get in that size other than race face, and it seemed like it was probably a little bit more of a durable option. So that's running inside there. Chain is a SRAM XX1 chain. Goes back to the XT Di2 rear derailleur. So the Di2 stuff is working out great so far. The cassette is a SRAM. This is the lower end one. For winter, this is like the cheap lower end heavier one. I figured I'd use this because it's probably going to get a lot more wear from all the mud. The XG, I think 95 is the one that's like 130 grams lighter. A bit more pricey, but super light. So probably switch to that one at some point when it gets not quite as consistently muddy. Yes, those are the Guide Ultimate calipers and those Shimano rotors, 180 in the rear. This is the DHR2 softer compound Maxxis tire. This is a 2.4. So 2.4 rear, 2.5 out front. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, the light bicycle wheels are like they're AM Enduro carbon buildup, which is an option you can get that's just there's a little bit more carbon there, so it's going to be a little bit burlier for what I'm going to try to do with this bike. It seemed appropriate. It's not too much of a weight penalty. So yeah, this will be the first time I'm going to run these wheels on the subsequent ride that I'll do, so we'll see how they do, these wheels and these tires. I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, like I said, it's with the like lighter cassette that I'll put on, just over like 28.5 pounds, I think. So super light bike. I'm getting more and more used to it. I've been riding it for the last week or so, and so far it's great. So I'll now cut to a ride with this thing that I'm going to do, hopefully out at Tiger Mountain, and you can kind of see it in action. Also, I should say this is the first bike I've actually built up myself. I think even if you don't build the bike up yourself, if you just buy all the components separately, you're going to come out ahead even if you have your local bike shop do it. In a lot of cases, definitely in this case, from what I've saw versus what, Pivot is asking for like a Di2 build. And I'm even like getting higher end components with the stem and other things like that. So I don't know, I'd really consider that even if you don't know how to do any of this stuff. You can just have your bike shop do it. A lot of them will do it for like less than $100, and then you can get all custom components and maybe save some money. I'm sure it's not that way in all cases. Certainly not with like the YT bikes. Those are really good value altogether. But for me, like the YTs wouldn't work very well because I need to run like a different dropper. I kind of have specific things I want, like in the cockpit. So it's better for me to just do it all custom. But I'm not a super mechanically inclined person, and this wasn't like rocket science necessarily to do. The only thing I didn't do is the press fit stuff, so like the headset and the bottom bracket. More because I guess I just didn't have that tool. It's not super practical for me to buy it. I know you can make cheaper ones, but I just had the bike shop do that stuff. The only thing I messed up was probably the rear derailleur. I hadn't really messed with rear derailleurs at all. So I didn't really set the limit screws, and I didn't fully understand conceptually the importance of those guys. So I think what happened when I took it out for like a little test ride, I think the chain popped over the biggest cog and then caused a problem that bent the rear derailleur hanger, which then I had to have the bike shop helping with because I wasn't exactly sure what the problem was. So they helped me get that all sorted. But I think if I just would have set the limit screws correctly, which I know how to do now, it would have been all good. I think that was the main like bump I ran into. So other than that, things good to go. Oh, and then last thing, shout out to the YouTube commenter who told me about this problem where you can get rock stuck in the linkage here, and then it could rub on the frame and scratch it all up. So I put some duct tape there for now. We'll see. I'll monitor that, see how that works. Obviously, you can see shit gets in there. Same with the Bronson. Like, these linkages, I guess, just attract a lot of mud and dirt. But yeah, thanks for the heads up on that. So Steven and I walked up Predator out at Tiger Mountain. I think, as far as we know, it's been closed the whole winter, so we're gonna probably take it easy. There's still some snow on the upper, but gonna test out the Pivot Firebird XL custom build now. He's on a YT Capra, and just try not to get killed.
Not sure if this comes through on camera, but it's pretty gnarly right here. The GoPro flattens it out. Whew. Section as well, pretty steep and gnarly. Woo! And really steep here. Steepest little drop I think is coming up right here. Maybe not. And then the big rock roll. Looks to be pretty good shape. Good to go. Woo!
Thoughts on the bike, riding that trail. So that is a really gnarly trail. The gimbal may not pick it up very well. Pretty steep and gnarly, which is, you know, one of the reasons I got this bike, because I think it's going to be much better suited for that. And it delivered. Like, it felt super planted, really stable, gave me a lot of confidence. I haven't ridden this in a long time. Mostly have ridden the Bronson down, which totally does the job, just a little bit more, it's pushed around a little bit more. So yeah, that was really fun, really awesome on this bike. I love it. Just taking a look at the travel, because I wanted to see like how much front I'm using. I think this is, based on the other stuff I've been riding, this really is going to push that more. I wasn't going 100%, but I was still opening up a bit for my skill level. So I don't know, I could maybe take out one of the tokens. But I think rear's still in good shape. Overall, yeah, loving it. That was awesome. We'll do more on lower predator, which still has some gnar and some drops and stuff. Really kind of what this thing's made for, I think. So this is like where we came from, upper predator here. It's got that rock wall. I think it was kind of designed to intimidate people who are walking by here. It is intimidating, but it's fun once you just pull the trigger on it. Steven's gonna try it, he hasn't done it in a while. But yeah, so upper predator ends right there at this rock wall feature and comes down here, and then can go right into lower predator, which is a little bit faster. So here Steven goes. Nice, man. Woo.